Hi guys, I'm the Impaired Grappler and welcome to my podcast. Today I wanted to do something different. I wanted to discuss the nature of our realm. So I reckon every 100 years or so we should have a debate or a discussion on the topic. So yeah, what if I told you the Earth is flat? Now, I want you to take a moment to observe that reaction that you had inside you. Where did that come from? Why did you have that reaction? Or, did you have a bit of anger, a bit of, do you think I'm stupid, crazy? You think, how dare I, all that sort of stuff. Um, and yeah, where did that come from? Why do you feel that way? So yeah, basically I interviewed Dave Weiss from the Flat Earth podcast. He's also known as Flat Earth Dave. Yeah, he has the Flat Earth Sun, Moon and Zodiac Clock app, and we discuss gravity, Antarctica perspective, eclipses, circumnavigation, the Earth working as a battery, and many other things. So I hope you guys enjoy, and we'll catch you on the other side. Whoops. Hi guys, I'm the Impaired Grappler, and welcome to my podcast. Today we have a very special guest. It's Dave Weiss from the Flat Earth podcast, also known as Flat Earth Dave. So welcome, Dave.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No worries. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I just wanted to just touch on this very popular topic at the moment of the flat Earth. It's been going gangbusters within the Jiu-Jitsu community. Krog Gracie and Eddie Bravo are well known. Eddie's a friend of yours. Yeah, so I just wanted to sort of just break it down for the layman and yeah, just see how we go.
So here's a question I have for you. I'm in the United States up here in Connecticut, and we're having a heat wave. It's 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hot.
Yeah.
And you're freezing your butt off. How could that happen on a flat Earth?
Well, there's a major difference when I come from New South Wales to Victoria. The weather difference is just huge. And that's just crossing the border from one state to the other. Just about.
Yeah, you know what? You are right on the Australia is.
But we're south near Antarctica, in Melbourne. We're the sort of most southern, right. So it's really cold.
Right, southern Australia is outside of the Tropic of Capricorn, and northern Australia is inside of the tropic. So northern Australia is essentially tropical.
Yeah.
Is Sydney in northern Australia?
No, that's sort of, it's probably like 8 hours north drive, I think.
Okay.
No, probably maybe more. Yeah, it's not far. Going to Queensland's like double that, triple that maybe. But yeah, like Australia's huge.
So is your audience, are they aware that the Earth is flat, or they think that you're crazy for bringing up this topic?
I'm sure they'd probably think I'm crazy, to be honest, but...
For those of you, excuse me, for those of you that are listening that think that he is crazy, I'm offering 2 Bitcoins for 1 proof of the globe. We'll get into that in a little bit, but just hang in there and you'll realize that thinking that we live on a heliocentric, spinning, corkscrewing, insane solar system is the crazy thought. And, the thing is, the people that think flat Earth is crazy have 2 things in common. One, they can't name any of these speeds or distances or sizes that I'm showing behind me. And the other is their idea of what flat Earth is insane. This is ridiculous. We're not a disk floating in space. So just in a nutshell, what is... Go ahead.
Sorry, that's one of the biggest things, the straw manning of it. That sort of got me. It's like, well... If I've gone to a prestigious university, studied science, studied philosophy, studied the history of the heliocentric versus the geocentric model and all that, I've studied all that. And coming out of university with a straw man argument of, oh yeah, you can't fall off the edge and all that nonsense sort of thing. And like for me as an educated, person, it's kind of like, well, what was university for kind of thing.
Yeah, I went to university for 4 years, and all 4 years I took astronomy. It was offered and available. It was kind of strange. I'm like, wow, I can take more astronomy? Yeah. So I took all the astronomy for 4 years, and I was really, really good at it. So good that all the girls used to come to my room, and I would tutor them, and it was very nice. And I knew my stuff, but now that I look back at it, it's all pseudoscience. None of it is real. It's all just made up mumbo jumbo nonsense. And there's no proof of any of the thing they say. For example, gravity. Gravity needs dark matter and dark energy for it to work. They've never seen it. They've never measured it, but it has to be there or their entire model falls apart. So they just made it up.
Well, can you explain that part of their model just a little bit deeper, just for the layman that doesn't that wouldn't know what you're talking about with regards to what they say gravity is, but it has to exist. But there's 95% of the universe is missing. Therefore, we've decided there's something else. Otherwise, gravity is false.
Yeah, they say this dark matter and dark energy is making up the rest of the mass, but they can't see it. Isn't that a cool story?
Yeah, cool.
There's also the thing called the three-body problem. So first, let's talk about the creation of the heliocentric solar system. Nothing exploded and created everything. All right, I'll give them that one, right? Because I don't even want to go there. Nothing exploded, created everything. And then all of the mass, all of the rocky bits turned into planets. They all started accumulating and sucking in more bits, and it created these perfectly round spinning balls. And all of the gases decided that they're going to start gravitationally pulling towards each other and to create these gas balls that we call suns and stars inside of, and then leaving a vacuum in between. That's a problem, okay? A gas ball in a vacuum without a container. Why is all of the gas sticking together? And then these gas balls are so big that they have so much gravity that they can hold on to the rocky balls. So the sun is holding on to the Earth and Mars and Saturn and Jupiter and Venus, right? It's holding on to all of these bits. So they're all falling around the sun in these gravitational bits. These rocky balls that we call planets, they're holding on to smaller rocky balls that we call moons. And so the moon is being held on to the Earth's gravity, so it's going around the Earth. But for some reason, the sun ignores the moon. So when the moon's moving away or around the other side and back towards the sun, it doesn't speed up or slow down because the sun's gravity ignores the moon. The Earth's little gravity negates the sun's gravity, okay? Well, this is nonsense, I'm telling you. This is the official story. And here's the thing, the three-body problem. You could take the world's best supercomputer and you can model and say, all right, I've got a sun, it's this big, it's got this much gravity, I've got a planet, put it in orbit, and it will model it beautifully. And you can say, where's it going to be tomorrow morning? Where's it going to be next week? Where's it going to be in 1,000 years? And it knows. It's like a perfect timepiece. Then you add one more body in there, either a moon or another planet, and the entire model goes into chaos mode. It never repeats, and they can't guess what's going to happen next.
That sounds like the same supercomputers they used in Melbourne to justify our lockdown. So,
well, you know what? I have to congratulate your leader, and we'll be very careful what we say here because if this is going on YouTube. He's done such a good job that nobody's died. It's amazing. I mean, imagine if he didn't do the lockdowns, you'd all be dead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he has a staircase made out of baseball bats, allegedly.
And God bless Tony Fauci, YouTube listeners. God bless him. He's the man. Everything he says is truth. And the CDC, we love them too.
Of course, until you read his emails. But we don't need to mention those.
Yeah.
I just want to get into the history as far as young Dave, like your understanding of the I guess the heliocentric model versus the flat Earth model while you were growing up in your youth, and if you can kind of incorporate that with sort of the history and the models with Newton to Einstein.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like anybody else. I believed it all. I mean, I believed in evolution, the Big Bang, the universe, planets, going to Mars one day. Astronauts went to the moon. Fake, false. Like, how could they fake it? You can't. They can't keep a lie. Nobody can keep a secret, and all of that. These are all just fallacies that people want to believe. People can't keep secrets. There's major secrets that are kept, and the people in great positions of power have great secrets that they can never share because it would destroy them, their families, and their complete lineage. So that's how they control people. So I was doing a conspiracy podcast talking about all different types of deceptions in this world. Everything from the Port Arthur Bang Bang event to our Connecticut, New York marathon events, and people started sending me flat Earth stuff. Say, hey, Dave, have you looked into flat Earth? And I'm like, you're crazy. You're banned from our social media for even asking such a stupid question. And then I looked, right? And I said, okay, what the hell's here? And I tried to debunk it. I went in with an agenda to debunk it. And that's how you become a flat earther. Because once you start looking at the facts of the heliocentric system, you realize how completely and utterly ridiculous it is. So I was showing the pancake Earth. If we're not a pancake Earth floating in space, the hell is a flat Earth? And the way I look at it is the Earth is an extended plane. How far? Don't know. We're not allowed to go there, but it's extended. Maybe it's extended like your infinite universe. Okay. And we live in a pond within that, in a puddle within, or a pond or a lake within that plane. So here's our lake. All of the continents are surrounded by water, but all of the water is surrounded by Antarctica. Now we think Antarctica is all snow, but maybe it's not. Admiral Byrd went out there and said he found land bigger than the United States that has more resources than anywhere else, and no human has ever set eyes upon it. So the container of our water, large bodies of water at rest, need a container. They lay flat, and the container is the shoreline of Antarctica. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. Makes sense. We live in the Antarctic basin. 70% of the Earth is water. I believe more, actually. Large bodies of water are testably, measurably, provably, scientifically, provably flat. So if there's no curve, there's no sphere. People think they see a curve, and that's just how our eyes work, because we see the same distance in all directions. So when you're looking forward, let's say you can see 10 miles or 100 miles, don't care. Whatever the distance is, to where the point where the sky touches the ground, it's called perspective, you see the same distance in all directions. So if you're standing here, I see whether this is 100 miles, that's 100 miles, that's 100 miles. So you see the same distance. And if you draw a line across it, if you see a line across it, you see a curve, and then your programming will tell you that's a sphere, when in reality, it's just the limit of your vision. So we see things in circles. So, if you took a flat earther and a globe earther up, let's say you can get up to 300,000 feet. I actually don't even think you can get that high, but if you can get to 300,000 feet, you theoretically could see maybe the whole Earth, maybe. And a globe earther would see a sphere, and a flat earther would see a flat circular Earth. And it's all because of our belief systems. And I'm not saying that a flat earther would see it flat because he believes it. He would see it flat for what it is. But a globe earther would see a curved edge and think that it's a sphere, right? I had a picture of my dining room table, and there was the shadow on it was just right one day. I took a picture of it, and I took out the edges, the backgrounds in Photoshop, and it looked like a sphere. The table looked like a wooden sphere. It was amazing. I lost that picture, and I don't have the table anymore. But I gotta recreate that. Well, that's so it's amazing how we see and what we think.
Well, sort of the one the picture you got there with regards to, so you're saying it's like it's your own personal dome. So when you're seeing the sun, everyone sees the sun differently, at a different angle.
Yeah, well,
and like those corpuscular rays, or whatever they're called, how they look like they're coming in from a close source.
Well, they look like they're coming in from a close source because they are coming in from a close source. One of the hardest things for people to understand is how we see the sunrise and the sunset, and how you in Sydney, or not in Melbourne, you're Melbourne, right?
Yeah.
You in Melbourne and me in the United States, we can see the same face of the moon. Some people just I would see a different side of the moon if it was close. And It's because the moon renders in what we call our personal atmospheric dome. So we see a certain distance in all directions, and everything that's being projected, for lack of a better word, from above comes into our personal atmospheric dome. So we see the same face of the moon. I believe that's all there is. I don't believe there is another side to the moon. But again, that's something we can't go up there. But so here's people there. You're inside your own personal atmospheric dome. This point where the light converges is so the real sun is above, in the sky, and we see it manifest very close to us. So here is late in the day. Here right, that's noon. That's noon. That's noon. So if I'm on the East Coast of America, it's like late afternoon. On the West Coast, it's early morning. If I'm in the middle, it's noon. And so that's how things render for us in this physical simulation, I call it now.
Yeah, it feels like a hologram.
Yeah.
But yes, back to Antarctica with sort of Admiral Byrd, and all the operations they had down there, and with regards to sort of the Nazi conspiracies they had secret Nazi bases down there and all that sort of stuff, impenetrable force, and then you can get into the hollow earth theory. But your thoughts on Antarctica and all those operations?
Yeah, so these are the operations that have hidden the true world from us and hidden our true selves from us. In 1946, we had Operation High Jump. That's kind of when they just started having the technology in this round of, this reset, where they started exploring Antarctica. And some people say the reason that they're lying is because they started lying and they can't now unlie. But the reason they're lying is because they're hiding the world from us and they're hiding our true power. Then we had in 1955, we had Operation, what does it say? Operation Deep Freeze. Sorry. That's where they were discovering the firmament. They discovered, hey, something's out there. So then they quickly formed NASA. And in 1958, then they quickly, hey, I found all this land with all these resources and nobody lives there. And let's put it off limits to everybody. Oh, all the worlds are fighting for resources, but a dozen countries immediately sign it. And now all the countries have signed it and nobody can independently explore Antarctica. Right? Nobody can independently explore Antarctica because we have to protect the penguins, right? Crazy.
Well, they're important. The happy feet. They need to dance.
I'm even wondering if there's actual natural. There's penguins that actually live there. I believe they might have been imported from the north just to say, hey, look, penguins. It's just a bunch of nonsense. Well, and then we had Operation Fishbowl, where they were trying to blow a hole in the firmament. And our wonderful former First Lady Hillary Clinton mentioned, that they're trying to break this glass dome, this glass ceiling above us. She says it again and again and again, saying that, it's a woman versus man thing, but she's really talking about the dome. They always tell us what they're doing. And then to seal the deal, they put men on the moon.
Yeah, of course.
To make you believe that you live on a spinning ball. I mean,
well, with regards to NASA, how they have to raise the Antarctica, how their base, they have to raise it like 100 feet a year because the ice coming in.
Oh, really? I forget about that.
They've got to put on stilts and raise the base up because of the ice coming in.
Do you think that's a cool story, or are they actually doing that?
I don't know. Well, I heard on Matthew Oakley, there was he's a flat earther now, but a plumber. He was interviewing a plumber that was down there.
Oh, yeah.
But again, he showed photos and stuff of the tunnels underground where it used to be level. But that's the mainstream story. If that's true, how is all the Antarctic water receding?
Well, they tell us that the sea levels are rising. I'm 57, and they've been telling us that Florida's going to be underwater next decade, next decade, next decade, next
Yeah.
decade.
But you can
And
still get
I live in the
insurance.
same town that I was born in, and I'm a kite surfer, wind surfer, boater. I've been in the water, since I was a baby, and the rock walls and the rocks that haven't moved. They're at the exact level. The water hasn't risen or settled an inch. There's a water level, and I believe that has to do with the atmospheric pressure, right? We live inside a dome, and whether it's a physical dome or just a pressurized dome, that can be discussed. But look at a pot of water just when it's about to boil, and you have the bubble on the bottom, right? There's a dome. If you are inside that bubble, you're standing on a flat surface, and there's waters above, and there's no physical barrier. There's just pressure holding it up. So perhaps we're in a dome like that, and the pressure maintains the water levels. If they lower the pressure, the sea levels will rise and water will dump in from the top. So, think about a storm or a heavy rainstorm. When does that happen? It happens when there's low level. When there's low pressure.
Low pressure.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff, right?
Yeah. And the whole having a vacuum next to a pressurized system.
That's a problem.
It's a bit of a problem. Just quickly with regard to the straw man argument. Oh, sorry.
Real quick on the gas pressure, the globe zealots or the uneducated will tell you, well, at the top of a mountain, the air is thinner. So the higher you get, the air just keeps getting thinner and thinner until the point where it's so thin it's a vacuum. Okay. Well, air pressure needs a container to press against. You can't have air pressure without a container. You can have a big tank of gas, and then there's a pressure gradient. At the bottom, the gas is heavier than it is at the top, but it's in a container because it's containing the pressure. And people say, well, gravity is holding on to it. Well, you can just take a straw and breathe in through it while it's pointed down, and you can suck water and air up and away from gravity effortlessly. So it's not gravity. There's no such thing as gravity.
Well, gravity is still just a theory. Yeah, because I did 20 years ago for History and Philosophy of Science at university. I did a paper at the end of the year. The biggest lessons I learned from this course was, and basically I just said that you can't take anything for granted, and science isn't about just believing what someone else says. You got to prove it, test it, all that. And the response to that was, yeah, but what about gravity? I'm like,
so there's a great debate going on inside the flat Earth community on is there a downward force? And I'm in there is a downward force, but I'm always willing to have the conversation. So the first thing is, what causes things to go down? And people will say, well, if you drop a microphone, as Neil deGrasse Tyson did, it falls not due to gravity. It falls because it's more dense than the air. So buoyancy and density sort things out. If I had a helium balloon and marbles and a ping pong ball in my hand and I let go, the helium balloon is going to go up because it's less dense than the air. The marbles and the ping pong ball are going to fall down, and I'm holding them over water. The ping pong balls are going to sit on top of the water, and the marbles are going to go to the bottom. That's all buoyancy and density. But I ask you, if I'm holding these things in my hand and I snap my fingers and the entire Earth disappeared, what would tell them to go down? Which way would down be? And the answer is, well, there really wouldn't be. Excuse me. There really wouldn't be a down. So what causes down? Well, the Earth is a giant battery system. The Earth has a testable, measurable, negative charge to it. That negative charge says, hey, come this way. It's a weak force. It just says down is this way, and it will attract things. As you lift up off the Earth, there's voltage in the air, and the higher you go, the voltage goes up. At 1 meter, at 1 meter, there's a 100 volts. 2 meters is 200 volts, and it goes up and up and up. So this difference in charge potential says down is this way because the Earth isn't moving. The Earth isn't going to move. It doesn't go up, doesn't go down, doesn't go sideways, doesn't move. So there's your down. And then buoyancy and density sort everything else out after that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so I like the sort of electric universe theory. And with the cathode, the anode, the salt bridge you've got there. And you got the salt water of the oceans, and then
salt water carries the current.
And the
That's why
tides.
There's no tides in freshwater.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I like how it could be some electromagnetic effect affecting the tides.
If you want to learn more about this system, there's an Australian guy, Lucas, whose YouTube channel is LC King. LC King. He can. I keep telling him, dumb your videos down, dumb them down, dumb them down. But his videos will show you how we do live in this free energy system.
Yeah, they go deep, those videos. Can you show sort of the modeling of the eclipses, and what are your thoughts on the previous eclipse sort of this month that happened?
Well, you got another Australian, Mitchell from Australia.
Yeah.
He, I don't know if you follow him. He just put out a video.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, we had a solar eclipse recently here in the north, which it was like 80% where I was, and I filmed the whole thing, and it was amazing. But there was supposed to be a total Ring of Fire eclipse that didn't happen. Okay, and also the lunar eclipse that was a week or so before, I believe. It was supposed to be a total lunar eclipse, and it wasn't. So something is going on, and we don't know exactly what it is, to be honest.
Yeah, I was filming that, but towards the end, the clouds came in and covered it and everything. So
yeah, they chemtrailed hard. They chemtrailed hard where I was, and this is the eclipse. This is the sun, not the moon, people. And this is all chemtrails. So they're trying to hide it. They don't want you looking at it. You know how they don't? They don't want you looking at it because they give you free glasses so you can't see it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I stared at the entire eclipse. The last eclipse, which was high in the sky, we had in 2017. Stared at the entire thing the entire time. I'm not blind, people. Matter of fact, my eyesight got better.
Did you have to build up your eyesight?
Pardon me?
Did you have to build up your eyesight with sun gazing and all that?
Oh yeah, sun gazing is you're only supposed to really do it at sunrise and sunset. But when we had the 2017 eclipse, again, there was such a haze of chemtrails that it dimmed it enough where I could stare at it. But I'm a longtime sun gazer. But at sunrise, anybody can look at the sun, and it was right there. And when you think about this, when they're eclipsing the sun, 80% of the sun is being blocked. It's not as bright. It's less bright, right? But they tell you that it's more dangerous because it's more concentrated. So they're telling you, because whatever this is that's blocking the sun, the 80% is coming around and all coming through here, so it's brighter. You know what I say about that? I say, cool story, bro.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And what was that? And also you also did models of the eclipses as well. I remember they were pretty interesting. And do you have any models of the glass globe, the light in the globe, to sort of show how, like with the sun?
Oh yeah, how? So when we look at here like this, so here's a glass dome, and we're moving a light forward and back, and this is time and date showing us where the day and night is. It kind of creates the same thing. One of the arguments that people give is on a flat Earth, you can't have a 24-hour sun, a midnight sun in Antarctica. And I totally agree. But there is no midnight sun in Antarctica. There's a couple of faked videos. And I'm not just saying they're fake, they're clearly faked. And we've dissected them for you. But as the sun moves, you see the light, it wraps around. So in Antarctica, in December, the sun is close enough to the dome where the light will wrap all the way around. And so you'll have twilight, but you don't see the sun for 24 hours in Antarctica ever. And we've looked at their webcam footage, and we could watch the flag. You know, they have these flags out in the ground and structures, and we'll watch the shadow goes around and then it jumps. They cut out 8 hours every single day. And they say they're doing that because, what was the reason? They said because there's not enough hard drive space, or it was just like, just show it. Well, whatever. No, and the excuses they gave are just super lame.
It sounds a bit like the moon landing data.
Yeah.
They ran out of tapes.
They
tape
taped over
technology
them.
was...
They taped over them.
Yeah, I remember, if you remember in the 60s, the big scare of the tape shortage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I'm modeling an eclipse here with one body coming over another. It's kind of a little hard to see. This is the real eclipse, but when you have a sphere casting a shadow on another sphere, like it right here, it comes in and it leaves at an as a ellipse. It doesn't come across straight like they show us. So what is darkening the moon? We don't know. Maybe the moon's darkening itself. Maybe there's another body. You know, there's all talk of Rahu and Ketu, but if you're trying to model, if you understand how a lunar eclipse happens, they tell us because the sun, the moon, and the earth are all in a perfect line, with the earth being in the middle. And the earth is coming in between and casting a shadow on the moon, which is, at these distances, there's no way you can cast a shadow at these crazy, ridiculous distances that they tell us. But there's a thing called the Selenian, and I always pronounce that wrong. So Selenian eclipse, where the observer, you're the observer, you're at the top of the world, can see the sun and the moon above the horizon. That means that the earth hasn't gone in between yet, because one of them would have to be below the horizon. And the eclipse starts before. And to make it worse, if the eclipse was starting, if the earth was coming up, it would eclipse the moon. The shadow would come in from the bottom, right? Because the earth is rising up. The shadow would come in from the bottom, but the shadow came in from the top on a recent eclipse. This is just a model, not the actual eclipse.
Yeah.
On my app, if you go to the eclipse pages, there's tons of videos in there that you won't be able to find on YouTube easily, unless you know the exact name and channel. And it'll show you for sure what's not causing the eclipse. And it'll speculate on some things that are causing the eclipse. And they seem pretty, I think you were talking about the model I did showing the projected sun and the projected moon on how we see an eclipse. And I did it, and it looked exactly like what we see in reality.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. Like, we can model everything and the effects of gravity, but we can't do it using gravity. We can only do it using electromagnetics.
Well, you have to get some dark matter. You got to go to the store and pick up 96% of dark matter and just add it to your model, and then everything will work perfectly.
But there's enough dark matter in this room to,
The scientists just discovered another part of the solar system, not our solar system, another planetary system that doesn't have any dark matter. They confirmed it too.
Oh, okay. That they can tell how much it weighs.
Yeah, they can tell that there's no dark matter. Yeah. I mean, how the heck can they tell there's no dark matter? This is stuff that, they're mocking the crap out of us. They're mocking. I mean, they mock us all the times. I mean, if you look at, Wernher Von Braun, who's the Nazi scientist that came over to run NASA, he wrote a book in 1957 or 1950 something called Project Mars, right? He wrote this book, Project Mars, about a group of people that went to Mars run by a guy named Elon.
Yeah, that's
right?
crazy.
Elon. And this is Elon's rocket that he wants to go to Mars in, right? Looks similar?
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Well, I always say, well, it's not exactly the same. And Elon tweeted a month or so ago that he wanted to redesign it, make it pointier, right?
Mm.
I mean, Mockery, this is the USA, our space command. This is our emblem.
Mm.
This is Starfleet command. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, copying is a sign of whatever. It's nonsense. This is predictive programming and Mockery mixed into a nice little ball and served to us.
Yeah, it's almost like the ballers are sci-fi fans that refuse to believe in the Bible. They want to hold on to hold on to their Star Wars, fandom instead of like, reading the Bible.
If you think about it, I mean, we're programmed from birth, that the earth is a ball. All of our children's programming, all of the books, teachers, schools, here in America, it's probably the same in Australia. One of the first worksheets that kids will bring home is the orbits of the moons and the planets and the sun. And you have to know which one goes around which. And that I had that when I was a kid, and kids are still bringing that same worksheet home today. Well, it's all programming. Then, kids love a good movie, and so do adults. And they're all space movies. They're all Star Wars, Star Trek, Empire Strikes Back, and, and every other movie and TV show. It's all globe programming. So, it's the people that have just lost their minds in the television programming that they're children. They're lost and they can't see the reality that's right in front of us. Some people will never see.
Well, that's an example like of the, you've got the globe. That's from primary school, the primary school workbook. Like you go and look at all your old school sheets. You're going to see dinosaurs, evolution,
right?
And space shuttles, and like the whole heliocentric model kind of thing.
Yeah, and all of the rocket launches, they traumatized the entire world when the Challenger went up, and they wheeled that television into every classroom, and all of the kids saw this. And the Challenger is when for those of you that don't know, the space shuttle blew up here in America, and then I believe it was in the 80s. And every child was watching that live, and there was a school teacher on there. And it's basically another form of trauma-based mind control, and another way for them to kick the can down the road farther, because they keep saying, civilians in space, hotels in space, space travel, and they can never do that.
It's always
people say, what about the astronauts that were on there? Well, here they all are. They're all working at universities and corporations, and they're alive. And these people have the same name. I'm not even saying, I don't want to say that they're alive, Mr. YouTube censor. I'm saying they all claim to have an identical twin with the same name, same birth date, talks the same, sounds the same, acts the same, and none of their twins showed up at their siblings' funerals. So weird.
Yeah, it is a bit weird. Something to make you think.
Something to make you think. Hey, let me ask a question. Did these guys just find out that their dog was shot, or they just got back from the moon successfully? Where they played golf and drove dune buggies or whatever they did up there?
They don't look happy. They look like
they don't look happy at all.
They're still cold because they don't have their suits on anymore.
They look like they're forced to. What I love is when the Russian astronauts land out in a field in the middle of nowhere, and they're still wearing their spacesuits, and then they quickly put a blanket over them. Right? That spacesuit's supposed to handle 500-degree swings in temperature, but they put a blanket over them.
Yeah, and then the footprint's different to the alleged footprint on Mars.
Oh yeah,
but
on the moon, you mean?
Yeah, moon. Yeah, sorry, getting my luminaries mixed up. It's like. Well, can you talk about like what it takes to be sort of a flat earther with regards to, because every single debate I've heard, the person that came on showing the with the heliocentric model, the flat earther, in my opinion, is just wiped the floor with them every single time.
Right. So,
and they get really emotional.
Well, there's two different types of flat earth debates. There's the flat earth debate where you have somebody that just believes, what they've been taught their whole life, and they can come in and see the light, which is the type of debate that I do. I show people that think flat earth is stupid, because they've never looked into it. But then there's also the paid shills out there, you know, Psyop Man Dan or Fight the Fat Shirt or whatever his name is. These guys are paid to go out there and to put in just straw man, ridiculous fallacy arguments, and they get their hands, you know, they get their butts wiped, you know, with truth, because there's only nonsense, and they make up these stories. There's a one of the shills, I call him By Man Dan. He does a weekly video where he basically, you know, it's highly edited, highly scripted, you know, video, but he will never talk to us live. He will only communicate, you know, through email. You know, he won't even respond to email properly, but he will never talk to us live because he knows that every single argument he makes is just ridiculous. I mean, he'll strawman us. He'll just make up stuff that we think, and you know, he'll say, well, that's been debunked, and he'll make a silly face, and then he moves on. He never tells you how it's been debunked. He just uses the word debunked, and people go, oh, it's been debunked. He's for capturing weak minds, and lots of weak minds have been captured by people like this. You know, if someone's listening to this now and go, this guy Dave, the earth is not flat, you know, and it's just because you haven't looked. And then they go, well, I researched it. I Googled flat earth. If you Google flat earth, you get nothing. You get garbage. You get, you know, you could do it for 500 hours and maybe you'll find an hour's worth of good content. They don't want you finding it. So I'm sure you're familiar with my app, but that's why I created the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. It shows you everything. It bypasses the algorithms. It shows you the model. It shows you the way, you know, the way we see the sun moving, right? Let me just show you. Let me just share that for a second. Because I want to show you, this is, so this is the app. And if the sun goes around once every 24 hours, it laps the moon every 28 days. But if you're in the middle, which is the Antarctic, right? You with me?
Yep.
So if you're in the Antarctic, the sun is arcing around you. I'm not in the Antarctic, the Arctic. Did I say Antarctic? If you're in the Arctic, what's the sun doing? It's arcing around you.
Yeah, as it's circling, it's making a big arc.
Yeah. If you're out here in the Antarctic, it's antarcing away from you. It's antarcing. It's not arcing around you. So the Antarctic and the Arctic, they're just telling us what the sun is doing from those locations.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense that they've named it that, because, like, yeah, you can visualize that in the model there. And can you quickly show circumnavigation while you've got that up as well?
Yeah. So circumnavigation. How do we show that? Well, first, here's a compass, and this is how a compass truly works. So I'm turning the clock. So north is at the center. Every direction away from the center is south. South is every direction away from the center. East and west are circles. So if I wanted to leave New York and head east, east is not a straight line, that's south. East is a circle because I have to keep turning to the north because my needle has to constantly point to the north. And I can follow my compass and I end up right back where I started. I can also do it west, east and west, right?
Yeah.
Billions of people have done east-west circumnavigation. Nobody has gone south and popped up over on the other side. Nobody's gone from Santiago to the other side of the world, right? Again, I said, you know, billions of people have done it this way, millions, billions, whatever, how many people have gone around the world. No one's done it like this. And that's because the earth is flat. And you can't go around that way. You know,
yeah,
you can test this yourself.
They'll claim that they've done it, but
yeah, well, the claims are proven wrong. And not just said they're wrong. I'm just pushing this west and I have to keep turning because that needle needs to point to the center. So that is circumnavigation. It works perfectly fine. Any straight line in any direction is south.
Yeah. Yeah, that, it makes sense.
That's how it works.
We can't go to the North Pole either to see if the alleged
So
mountains there.
yeah, so in 11 minutes from now, from the time we're recording this, the new video of the day, the featured video of the day on the app is going to show up, and it's about a Freemason exposing what the flat Earth is, what the real Earth is, and it's talking about a black sun in the North Pole underneath, inside of the Earth, below the surface. And it's very, very interesting. Very interesting. Kind of like a whistleblower video.
Yeah.
But that's every day on the app. There's a featured video that so every day there's a new featured video. And so my challenge for the 2 Bitcoins for one globe proof is you have to watch the featured video every day for 2 weeks. At the end of that 2 weeks, if you think you have a proof of the globe, before you send it to me, you have to hit this question mark, and up comes every question you're going to ask me. What about eclipses? What about seasons? If I click what about eclipses, up comes a playlist of eclipses that YouTube will not show you. And so these 2 at the top here are the model that I did. And check those out. And that's it. So, once you see that, there's also in the app, there's tons of other information. I highly recommend anybody that really wants to look into flat Earth, go to this is the web button page. Check out these full-length videos, or check out this series here, The Lost History of Flat Earth. Did you watch it?
I love that. It's awesome.
Did you watch the second series he did of 13 parts?
Yeah, I got the 13.
And so well done. And I got to watch it again. I've already watched it twice, and I got to watch it again. Bring food and water if you click that button. That's all I got to say. All sorts. I've added books in here for people that want something physical. This is my favorite, one of my favorites. 16 emergency landings that prove flat Earth. That's a great coffee table book. You can get it free online, the PDF, but I'm a believer in having these physical books, because everything that's digital is going to disappear in the near future.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've been sort of collecting books of late, especially ones that got going to be banned.
One more thing I want to show you on the app. I have this is kind of like a loved sponsor page. Nobody pays me for this, but we just added a flat Earth meeting, a flat Earth dating app. It just started, and they're looking for founding members to join. And once it starts growing, it's going to be a great way to meet flat Earthers, because, as you know, there's a flat Earther can't successfully live with a globe Earther.
It's a bit hard to have conversations.
It certainly is. But the flat Earther has the advantage, because the globe Earther might see the light one day, and if they love you, they'll listen to you, and then if they listen to you, they'll be able to see. But the globe Earther has no hope of a flat Earther coming back to the globe, because once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Well, then you've already gone through all those stages of grief and all that sort of stuff, and you've already changed your mind of something that you believed in for ages.
Yeah, they accuse us like you're not willing to change your mind no matter what I show you. No, I was able to change my mind after what I was shown, and then once you see it, you can't unsee it. There's a meme I saw. It's like 5 stages of becoming a flat Earther. There's no way the Earth is flat. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, it might be flat. I think it's flat. It's definitely flat.
Yeah. Or something like that. Well, like, we don't know what shape it is or how big it is or what it is, but like we say flat, but
we don't know exactly the construct, right? But we can measure it. It's not a spinning ball flying through a space vacuum. That's every flat Earther agrees with that. And the area that we live in is flat and level and does not move. Period.
Yeah.
Okay. There's hills and valleys. Yeah. But look at water. Water is a natural level. That's why they use it for a level. That's why it's called a water level.
Yeah. And the inverse square law, when you start explaining that, it's like, that just
most people just short circuit when you explain the inverse square law of light, but it's very, very simple. It's every time you double the distance
Yeah.
to a light, it's a quarter of the brightness, and
Yeah,
then
you just
vice
have to
versa.
say
Every
that
time
and
you
look
half the
up.
distance.
You just look up and it's like, no, no. And then look at the photos. But even with like a dark filter on, like you're gonna be burnt to a crisp at that bright, at that much of a brightness. You know, it's crazy.
Right.
But yeah, like with regards to like research, do you find that like it seems that flat earthers are way better researchers because they kind of have to be.
Well, we know more about the globe model than they do. We have one of our flat earthers. He's doing a tour all across the United States. He's been out for 5 months, and he goes to different cities. He breaks out his microphone, his speaker, and he just starts preaching in public areas. And one of the things he does, he says, "I got $100 for anyone that can answer 3 simple questions about the globe." And the first one is, how many times does the Earth allegedly spin in one day? Pretty easy, right? Half the people don't know, right? It's supposedly one time. You know, and then he asks, what's the diameter of the Earth? What's the circumference of the Earth? Nobody knows. What's the distance of the sun? Nobody knows. What's the distance of the moon? How many times farther is the sun than the moon? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows anything. The only thing they can answer is how many times the Earth spins per day, and half of them can't answer that. And he hasn't given away his $100 yet. And he does it where if they get it wrong, they don't lose anything, right? So people try and nobody can get it. Even after he tells them the answer, they don't know the answer. That's how brainwashed people are.
Yeah, well, we can get into sort of psychology of all that, but yeah. So what other resources apart from your app, which I recommend? The playlists are pretty cool. What other resources would you recommend for a newbie getting to this to not be?
Well, and I'm not recommending it because it's my app, but it is the single resource because it leads you to all of the other resources. If you Google Flat Earth, you're not going to find this stuff, right? It's in the app Play Store on iOS. You need an iPhone 6 or higher. And it's in the Google Play Store. You need Android 8.0 operating system or higher. And the app's $3 American. So I don't know what that is in Australian. But it's a one-time charge. There is a little pop-up that says, would you like to subscribe? Because people ask if I could put a donation button on there because they want me to add more things, which this all costs money. And you can subscribe or not. You still get everything, okay? There's no ads. There's no nothing. If the pop-up comes up, it comes up once. Every time the Earth rotates once around, the pop-up will come around. And then you can exit out immediately. No waiting, no ads, no nothing. You still get everything. So the app is there to give you the information. The reason I charge for it is because it costs a lot of money to run. It costs thousands of dollars a month to run. Okay. So enjoy it and then read the reviews. If you're unsure, just read the reviews. The reviews will turn you into Flat Earth. You don't even need the app. Just go read the reviews in the App Store and the Google Play Store. You'll become a Flat Earther by doing that. There's a great resource. Read the reviews.
Yeah. Well,
of the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app.
I've been watching the videos sort of this week, the last week or two. Yeah, they've been pretty good. So, and the playlists are fairly good. They just do autoplay. I don't think there's usually commercials on them.
Oh, well, because you're watching on YouTube, right? So
yeah, like through the. Because I think when it goes through the playlist, I haven't really seen commercials.
Well, it's I don't see commercials because I'm on my YouTube account. I'm on a family plan where I think it's a couple dollars a month and you don't get commercials. But yeah, I mean, sorry, someone's hosting the videos. You know, eventually YouTube's going to ban all Flat Earth videos, and then we'll be on another platform. So I've already got all of them backed up on Odyssey, and we'll just switch over to there once YouTube blocks them.
Yeah,
because YouTube's about you and free speech.
Well,
right?
it's sort of,
and God forbid you challenge the helio-nonsensical BS model.
Yeah, you're not allowed to think anymore almost. If you can't talk, you can't think.
Well, they don't teach you to think. They teach you to memorize and regurgitate. That's schooling, right? They're schooling you.
Yeah.
The indoctrination camps.
Yeah. All right. So I know you've got to go soon. Like, I think our time's just about up. Is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah,
get into? Like,
what I want to say is, people like, why the lie? Well, they're hiding more land, they're hiding more resources, they're hiding who you truly are, they're hiding the creator, whoever that may be for you, they're hiding the fact that you live in the center of everything and that this world was created for you. They're hiding the fact that your thoughts can create your reality, and they're hiding the fact that nobody has control over you. Imagine if everyone in Australia, what's your guy's name? The bozo?
well, the Premier, was
The
the Premier
premier?
Andrews, or the, what was the
Whatever.
Prime Minister's name,
So
whatever his name,
if everyone just said,
Morrison.
I'm ignoring him. He's just a little nobody. He's just a homeless man. Just treat him like I don't. Just treat him like garbage. Okay. If everyone did that, there'd be over. The only control he has over you is in your imagination, and they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that you are a created being, that nobody can break your free will. They know they can't break your free will. Anybody that gets this is doing it willingly. Okay. Now they may be coerced, which goes against every, thing out there, but you're doing it willingly if you do it. Now they're like, well, I need my job. I need to go on a bus. I need to go into the store. They're just putting these restrictions out there to coerce you, but you're doing it willingly.
All right, that's well said, beautifully said, and thanks for doing this, and we'll see you guys all next time. And thanks, Dave.
All right. And you can find me at theflatearthpodcast.com, the Flat Earth Podcast Instagram, the Flat Earth Podcast Facebook page, lots of stuff there. But the best way to learn about Flat Earth is get the app, the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. There's already a knockoff one with the same name on Google Play. It's by the Ron Media Group, which is basically the Flat Earth Society. And if you get that app, don't send me an email telling me my app stinks, because it's not my app.
All right, no worries. Well said.
All right, man.
All right, no worries. Thanks for that, and we'll catch you next time. And we'll see you guys later.
All right, man. Thanks so much. Right. See ya.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Bye.
Bye. Alrighty, guys. I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did, and thanks, Dave, for doing that podcast. And yeah, be sure to check out Dave's podcast. Be sure to check out his app. And yeah, be sure to check out my my socials, subscribe, comment, share, all that jazz. If you liked anything, make sure you don't forget to comment. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and we'll catch you next time. Us.